Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we're going down the rabbit hole to explore ILNP's newest collection called Illusions. This is a 6-piece multi-chrome magnetic formula that is going to be launching tomorrow. As always, I will save more of my thoughts for the end after some comparisons. For now, let's just get into the swatches. The first polish in the collection is Alice, which is described as a blue to gold magnetic. The formula on this, as expected, is so smooth, so easy to work with and apply. It is a touch sheer, but I feel like it's just so incredibly packed with those shimmer particles and the magnetic pigment that I got really great coverage on the first coat, and it built up to be fully opaque for me on 2 coats. I think if you do look close enough, you might be able to see a hint of nail line, but I personally don't think it's enough to do a 3rd coat. Again, unless your nails are just a lot longer than mine or you just prefer to do really thin coats. I personally feel like this is one of the weaker shades as far as the multi-chrome aspect goes, where you can see in very extreme lighting, the blue shimmer shifts to a slightly darker blue, but it's not super color shifty. And as usual with magnetic polishes, I will also be showing them velvetized using the horseshoe magnet. This one specifically is from ILNP, but it was sent as like a prototype gift, so unfortunately they don't carry pink magnets. I'm sorry, but it is the same 30-pound pull as most other horseshoe magnets, so hopefully you can see just how beautifully it velvetizes. And here for my full hand mani, I did the velvet effect on both of my middle nails and the cat eye effect on my pointer and pinky. Unfortunately, I feel like the cat eye just kind of got messed up, I think, from having the horseshoe magnet a little too close, so apologies for that. As you saw during the live swatch portion, it did have a stronger cat eye effect, so just be careful when you're magnetizing your polish. Next up we have Hypnosis, which is described as an orange to teal magnetic. This one had another amazing formula that was very full coverage on the first coat alone. It is just a little bit sheer. I think it has this almost like purpley, maybe indigo colored base, but it definitely is hard to see underneath all of the shimmer in here, but it is so gorgeous. Even though this one is described as having an orange to teal shifting color, I would not really agree with that. I think this has 2 different multi-chrome shimmers where the background shifts from orange to yellow, and then the magnetic shimmer on top of that goes from teal to purple. So this one is definitely very color shifty, super multi-chromatic, especially compared to the last shade. And I think I would say that this is my top favorite from the collection. I just love the color shifts in this one. I was so blown away, especially seeing this with the velvet effect. It just looks so freaking cool. Again, going from like that teal to cyan to purple color shift, it's just so gorgeous, and it especially shines in more like natural lighting or kind of like indirect lighting. I think it was pretty overcast the day that I filmed this. I mean, you can hopefully see that it's not direct sunlight, and I feel like this kind of lighting is just so perfect for multi-chromes because it's just diffused and you get the light from like different angles, and it just makes the colors pop so much. I was just so mesmerized by this one and I didn't want to take it off. It was such a shame I didn't save this for last. Then we have Warped, which is the green to purple magnetic. Like the other polishes, this one has another amazing formula, very smooth and easy to apply. This one I found a little bit thinner or just more sheer than the last 2 shades. I also couldn't really tell what the base color was. I would guess like a grungy, dark taupey color, or maybe just like a charcoal, but either way, it is again just absolutely packed with these shimmers to the point that I got it full coverage for me in 2 coats, but again, you might need 3 depending on your nail length. And I found this one similar to the last shade where it actually has 2 different multi-chrome pigments. We have the background shimmer that shifts from green to blue to purple, and then the magnetic pigment on top of that is purple but then shifts to pink and orange in extreme light. So definitely another super shifty one. It's very multi-chromatic. No surprise, I really love this in the velvet effect because it just gives that strong purple flash against the green. It just looks so cool. Even though this isn't usually my favorite like color combination, I still just enjoyed seeing the colors. I did unfortunately mess up the velvet effect on my middle finger though, where it just doesn't look velvetized. I don't know how I managed to do that, so again, so sorry about that, but hopefully you can see it well on my ring finger, and again, the cat eye effect on the other two fingers. Then we have Flip Side, and this is the pink to blue magnetic. This is another favorite of mine. I just really love the color combinations in this one. Like the last two shades, this also has two different multichrome pigments, so the background shimmer goes from pink to orange in extreme light, while the magnetic shimmer on top of that goes from this bright cyan aqua kind of color to blue to purple in extreme light. I think the base color in this is also another like deep purple indigo kind of shade. It's a little hard to tell underneath all of the shimmer, but it is dark enough that I got it fully opaque for me in just 2 coats. It does look really cool with the cat eye effect, but again, I am just such a sucker for that velvet flash. It's just so striking going from like that pinky purple base and then seeing that flash of bright blue. I just absolutely loved it, and again, especially loved it seeing it in more natural lighting where you see just more of those color shifts. Next up we have Misfit, and this is the pink to orange magnetic. So this I think comes in more of like a burgundy base color, definitely a little bit more red leaning than purple, and again it has a super flawless formula, so smooth and easy to apply. Really great coverage on the first coat, and I got it fully opaque for me at least on 2 coats. This one, like the last couple of shades, also does have 2 multichrome pigments, but I found the color shifts to be a little bit more on the subtle side or just like not as contrasty. So for example, the magnetic pigment on top goes from purple to pink to orangey copper, while the base shimmer is kind of like a reddish orange that shifts to a lighter orange or copper. So it's kind of just within the same like spectrum of the color shifts, but it's still absolutely beautiful. I actually even like this one unmagnetized because it has this beautiful like raspberry pink kind of color. But of course, I do think it is worth magnetizing them just because it makes the polish so much more dynamic, especially with the velvet effect. I really love the strong contrast of that purpley pink flash against the orangey copper. I think in very extreme lighting, it had a subtle shift to gold, which I thought was super beautiful. It just reminded me of like a hot summer sunset. And rounding out the collection, we have Unraveled, which is the gold to magenta magnetic. This one again had the same flawless formula as the other polishes, which should be no surprise. It was very full coverage on the first coat, just like a little bit sheer. So I got this fully opaque for me on 2 coats. I think the base in this one is another one of those like really dark, grungy bronze kind of shades. It's like hard to tell underneath the shimmer. And unfortunately, this was my least favorite from the collection. I just didn't love the background shimmer color in here. It's just that certain tone of gold that I don't think is flattering on me personally. I think the color combination is cool. I don't know if it's giving me like Mardi Gras vibes or something, but yeah, I just didn't love this one on me especially. I did like the magnetic shimmer in here though, going from like purple to pink to even orange in extreme light, but I just wish it was against a different base. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like that background gold shimmer just really overpowered this polish as well, where it was just kind of hard to actually see the multichrome magnetic shimmer on top of it. And here is a little thumb swatch collage of the full collection so you can see all of the colors together. At first, seeing them just side by side in the bottle, I thought a few of them looked very similar to each other, but obviously once you magnetize them, you can really see the difference. Even though here it looks like Hypnosis and Flipside look like they could be the same, but I think in real life it's just easier to tell the shiftiness in their colors. Moving on to comparisons, we're starting with Alice, and as far as the closest ILNP magnetic goes, I thought of Darkest Hour, which is a dark blue magnetic, but it goes between silver instead of gold. When it comes to a blue and gold magnetic, I did immediately think of Mooncat's Curiosity's Trap from the Pandora Unboxed collection. I thought they were going to be a lot more similar, but ILNP is a little bit more sheer and way more vibrant. Then for Hypnosis, I immediately thought of Sassy Sauce's A Decade of Decadence from Hella Handmade a couple of months ago. I again thought these were just going to be way more similar than they ended up being. The colors are similar on paper, but they just kind of have like the inverse order, at least when you see them head on, because then once you see them in more extreme lighting, they also have these additional color shifts that make them really different. Moving on to Warped, I did want to see this next to Deep Space, which is a bluish green to purple shifting magnetic, but that's in a black base. And the only other somewhat close shade I had was High Roller, which again is also in a black base, but I think the magnetic shimmer is very similar, if not the same, as what's in Warped. But yeah, these are all very different, definitely far from dupes, and again, Warped is definitely the most sheer. Lastly, I was also reminded of Mooncat's Mad Hatter, which I have the swatch stick for. I thought these were going to be more similar, but the magnetic shimmer in Mooncat is green head-on, while it has these purple flakies in the background. Then for flip side, I knew I had to see this next to Ethereal's Midsummer Eve, which is another pink to blue magnetic, but again, it kind of has like the inverse color order, and it's also a lot darker. And the last few comparisons I have are for Misfit. First, I pulled out Be Mine, which is a raspberry reddish pink magnetic. That one's very monochrome though, it's not multichrome like these other two, but it is kind of similar in a way, just like a little bit darker than Misfit. For a more contrasty shade, I did pull out Mooncat's Pandora's Box, which is kind of that darker burgundy red, but it also has a gold magnetic instead of a pinky purple. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons of ILNP's Illusions collection. As always, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this release because I thought they were pretty cool. If you're familiar with me and my taste, you know that I usually do love ILNP's magnetic formula. I'm just not always crazy about multichromes, so this isn't my favorite collection where every shade is going to like speak to me, but I do think there are some standouts that I really do love. Objectively, I do think they are great polishes, and I think a lot of them are also just incredibly unique to my collection. But if you are more of a multichrome magnetic fan, you might have something more similar from a brand like Cleona, for example. If you are interested in these though, as I mentioned before, they are going to be available tomorrow, May 30th at a pre-order discount. I did also want to mention, in case you haven't seen it, that ILNP is also going to be raising their prices starting on June 1st. So basically all of the $10 boutique effect polishes will now be $12.50 moving forward, but the $10 studio color line will still be $10. So anything that's basically like a cream, crelly, or jelly, anything that doesn't have any type of shimmer or flaky, those will stay $10. Everything else will be $12.50. But anyway, make sure to let me know your thoughts down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!